tonight. Discuss for possible approval the lease agreement for the annex building. I'll just turn that over to Sandy.
So the lease agreement that was sent with your packet originally is one that we drew up. That one went through our attorney. Gage had sent a few changes back that I think we talked about a couple of meetings ago. Some of them really didn't apply, so I didn't make any of those changes. A couple of things that he brought up in the lease term of lease, we had changed some of that. The rest of those we had addressed last time. And then we went ahead and forwarded this to James Rosenthal for them to take a look from their perspective so that we could talk, make all this kind of in one fell swoop. So the other copy that you have sitting in front of you that has red markups are the things that they are recommending change. Kind of went through these one by one. The first paragraph is just a name change. I was going with Bradford Companies, which is kind of like the mother company, and they wanted to change to Next Gen Wireless, non-event. The lease term, they're just changing that in there to basically say they want the term to start once the building renovations are complete and they start to move in. That's when they want the lease to take effect. The rent part is just talking about if they don't happen to move in on the first day of the month, they would want the first month prorated, which is pretty normal. On the second page, under number 9, they're talking about care and maintenance of premises. It talks about the landlord being responsible for HVAC properties. That's how we handle the medical center as well. Steve said we would have assumed that anyway. That's just calling it out. And then on the last page at the very bottom, all of those changes again are just changing things from Bradford Companies to Next Gen Wireless. So kind of
I don't know if you guys heard I was able to get this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Everything else is kind of in your guidance.
James couldn't be here tonight, but he's available via phone. If we have a question for him, I can call him. But they are really looking forward to getting going. Kind of the same thing that we briefly talked about at the last meeting. They're willing to look at going halvesies on the renovation portion, adding the additional for the 2 years on top of the rent, I think is what they would prefer. Or if you guys chose to want them to do the upfront, they would do that as well. But I think they would prefer to add that, what was it, 300 extra per month onto the rent. So, but they're ready to go. We double checked with the contractors again today. They said 2 weeks tops is what they thought. So they're hoping that November 1 they could get ready to go into that building. So,
and we can carry that 7,000 without having to do too much here and there.
Just a budget amendment, but
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I picked out some funds
Okay.
that would work.
so
Good.
it's kind
I think it's a good move.
Too. There's not too many changes to this, so that's a
No,
good thing.
I was pleasantly surprised when I
Yeah.
came back that there was this
yeah, it went through their attorneys as well. So
little that came back from them as there did. The only other thing, I guess, and you guys maybe talked about it last time, I'm sorry I wasn't here, but the other benefit from our standpoint is it gets us out of under all of the utilities. So in addition to the fact that they're covering, taxes and all that with rent, we get to save all of that we're spending now to keep heat on and air conditioning going,
Mhm.
Yeah.
water running, and
and then I mean,
it's great.
and then also the point where the people that it's bringing to the community to utilize the service and sales that they have, obviously the
Local
tax
option
rolls
sales
in,
tax.
local option.
And it wouldn't be here if we didn't do this because they
Right.
would not be here.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a real big benefit. So
Yeah,
And
thanks.
you mentioned at the last meeting that this kind of opens up this part of the Main Street area,
it does. I
the
think
13th
it's
Street part of it.
I think it's really important that we kind of start focusing a little bit on making this a showpiece as well. We kind of have two blocks that I think could really, yeah, continue to have attention, but this adds a new business there that I think will draw people as well. So that's why I think it's a good spot for them. So lots
Well,
of
I think for the
parking and
public, it's good
it's
too.
handy as well. So
I had a question about the renovations or the changes that are proposed here that are going to be taking place. Are these, say the day comes that Next Gen leaves, are the changes that we're going to be paying half for, is that space then going to be applicable for another business? Or is this just specifically
no,
for
No,
this
this-
business?
realistically, this change has to be made in order to make this a viable space turnkey for anything.
You know, when you're looking at the building, it's got that middle wall right down it,
Okay.
so it's divided out.
Mhm.
And this will remove that and open it up.
Yeah,
and
this will
it'll- and even in the future for a retail store or something, I mean.
Or
they would
office
want
space,
it- They
cubicles,
would
I
want
mean.
it open as well.
Okay, so it would be applicable and workable, suitable for another tenant. in the
Absolutely.
future.
Yeah, that's a great thought. I was thinking about that too, but really, I think the renovations they're doing really are making this
It's making it a
more
user-friendly space.
turnkey for anybody
Anybody.
down the road.
Yeah, because you've got a real small space up front and then just this big classroom with a back room in the classroom. And it's really, it's not gonna be a good setup for anything,
Well, that whole hallway is basically a waste of space.
It
So
is.
that's like 400 square feet of just
Yeah.
unusable space.
Yeah.
They just,
One question I thought of, and maybe maybe you don't, I should ask them, but what do their leases look like with other places? Are they long-term?
It's,
No, I mean, not this, but like, if they're renting somewhere in Blairstown, have they been there 5 years, 10 years, or what is,
so.
are they a long-term?
They are, they like to do a renewable 1-year option, but like, say, we're planning on being here for 4 years.
Okay.
Stint,
Yeah.
right? So,
Mhm.
but they have that clause, if corporate would come in and say, hey, we don't want
Yeah.
cellular in Belle Plaine anymore. So
Mhm.
I don't anticipate them,
this is their 19th or 20th store. They're
this will be
expanding.
their 20th store.
Mhm.
So, they've been in business for quite some time doing this and
So they could be a very long-term,
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
good. That's good to hear.
As long as US Cellular's
Yeah.
still working.
Well, yeah.
Still
Or
out there.
sort of working.
What steps have to happen, to get the school moved?
I just need to let Kirkwood know, and then their maintenance staff, and just as far as I know, they just need to move the desks that they need and the chairs that they need over into the Hart building. So it should be pretty painless.
They're just storing stuff there now, basically.
No, they have class.
So there's adult high school
Oh,
completion
they
class
do
in the
still?
front room.
Oh,
So that was
Oh,
that was our agreement with Kirkwood, is we get the building back, but we just have to make sure they have a place to have class as long as they offer that.
okay, gotcha.
So when I talked with Jackie last, I thought she would, I'm sorry, would go into the Hart building, when you come into it from the east, it'd be the first room on the left, or the southern classroom. It's got good light, less distractions. I think it'll do better for her students than being inside a fishbowl with all the traffic going by. I think it'll help them a lot.
Okay.
And it'll keep someone in that building for the time being, and someone to watch over stuff, because I can't go over there all the time.
How often do they use it then?
I can't
Just one
remember.
night a week, maybe?
It's-
A couple maybe.
She has like one student currently,
Hmm.
so it's not.
Yeah, I didn't know they were doing that. I drove by
In-
today and
And they don't,
I saw people in there.
and eventually they graduate, so. And her one student's doing really well.
So you'd be able to give her a call and say, we're moving forward on this.
Mhm.
other questions?
Thank you, good job.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Very good
Thanks,
plan.
Kate.
Thank you.
So I need a motion to approve the lease agreement, I guess.
I make a motion to approve the lease agreement. Do we need to say as amended for the annex building?
Yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0.
Do we need a motion to go ahead and do the renovation as well? And are we just assuming that that's part of it?
It's part of it. It's part of it.
All right, just
So
checking.
I'm just, no, that's a good question. I was gonna sign that tomorrow morning and if that's okay with the council, get that
Yeah.
moving
Yep,
tomorrow
get it
morning.
rolling.
Okay.
That was why we wanted to.
I mean, we did, that's why we're here.
Then we can work on the parent company. They can bring a Polaris or whatever other type of
Yeah, that's right.
UTV
They did just
dealership
purchase
to town.
a Polaris dealership.
That'd be
in South
cool.
Dakota.
That's your next project.
We're out South Dakota, you know.
I think they're in the Sioux Falls area.
Sioux Falls.
No,
yeah.
just after the
I was
meeting,
probably-
you stop down and
Yeah.
print out the
My brother
advice
used to
when
live
you-
there.
Yeah, they just bought one.
Sioux Falls.
That's a nice town. That's a really nice city.
So,
We're up there.
Well, if there's nothing else,
Yes.
I need a motion for adjournment.
All motion for adjournment.
Second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. I love officials.
Passes 5-0.
Cut.